Hello YouTube. Got the Trans Am up on blocks. We're gonna pull the transmission out. I guess I broke the sprag. When you do a burnout, you're not supposed to chirp second gear. And I usually do first, second, third in the burnout, but it kicked sideways on me. As I got into second, I had to let off of it and chirp the tires a little bit, and it rolled the sprag. Let's start draining the transmission pan out of this one. I wish I put a plug in that. I need to put a plug in both of them transmission pans. It just makes it a lot easier to drain the fluid and work on them. But I'm gonna have to drop the pan slowly one side to the other and try to get some of it to come out, and then unbolt the pan and hold it at the same time. Make sure nothing swishes out of there. I think I might put a drain pan back in it. Chris was going to come up and race it this weekend, but he flies standby. There ain't no standby tickets this weekend. Alright, shine some light on the subject here. Alright, loosen up all the bolts in like a crisscross pattern. Then I left these 3 back ones in and took all the rest out. And I took a screwdriver and popped the front of it. I had the drain thing up here, and I supported the pan because you don't want that pan to come down real hard and bend the back of the pan. So I supported the tab, I supported the front of the pan, stuck a screwdriver in there, popped it loose, and gradually lowered it down and let all the fluid come out. And there's the pan. Usually you see a bunch of clutch material in there, but it's clean as a whistle. It's really clean. So the pressure was doing good and the clutches were doing good, because usually you see clutch material in there. There ain't no clutch material at all, so that's a good sign. But now we gotta put the pan back up in there and put the bolts back in it, because we gotta have something for our jack. We're gonna put a piece of board and a jack under here for when we take the transmission out. And for the this one has an external solenoid for the trans brake, so I just pop that out, and then I put the bracket back over. There's a bracket that holds that. I put the bracket back over the hole and tighten it back up, because there's a shaft inside there that we do not want to come out and lose. If you put that bracket back over it and tighten the bolt, that shaft can't come out. But yeah, everything in here is really clean. Everything looks really good. The filter looks good. Everything looks good. Let's put the pan back up in it and snug the bolts back up, and I guess the next thing we'll do is take some converter bolts out. And we had a cotter pin right here that held on to the shifter bracket. But yeah, let's put the pan back up, snug the bolts up, just so we have somewhere to put our jack, and then we'll take the torque converter bolts out. Alright, I got the torque converter bolts all out. What I did was I used this, oh, where'd I go? I used these pair of vice grips and just clamped them right there to turn the motor over. But anyway, there's only one good spot to take those torque converter bolts out, and it's right where the starter goes. I was able to get them out right here, but to put them back in, I believe I'm gonna have to take the starter out, which sucks. But I took the transmission lines off and just got those set up out of the way, and there's the trans brake solenoid, and there's that bracket over the hole. Like I said, there's a shaft up in there. Definitely don't want that to fall out and lose it. It's got a spring on the end of it too, the way our trans brake works. But yeah, let's take that cross member out. We'll take the cross member out, and we'll take that bolt out, and then there's 2 bolts on each side back here. We'll take those out and we'll twist that out. We'll have to get a jack on it to get it out, but we'll go ahead and take the bolts out. And then where the drive shaft loop's at, it won't let the transmission come all the way down, so we'll have to take the drive shaft out, which we'll have to take that out anyway. But Once we get all that out, we can drop the transmission out and it'll make it easier to get to our transmission bolts. Alright, there we go. Cross members out. Drive shafts out. Now we're going to lower the transmission and get to our bolts up there. It's just easier when you lower the back of the transmission, especially those top bolts, which this is a turbo 400 on a LS motor, so it only uses 2 side bolts on each side and then one top left one. The top right one's not in there, but let's lower this down. But before we lower that down, we're going to take the hood off and we're going to watch the back of the motor. I don't think with this one we'll have to worry about anything hitting, but sometimes when the motor goes down, it'll see. We got plenty of room back here, but I'm just going to watch it here and lower the jack with the other hand, see how it does. Alright, jack's all the way lowered. Nothing hit, but it did come kind of close. You also want to check stuff in the front too, make sure nothing's going to pull loose or anything if you got something really tight. But yeah, now we can get under there and take the transmission bolts out. Alright, got the transmission bolts all out. That one's stuck in there's a trans shield up there, but the trans shield has it stuck in there, so we're going to try to wiggle. I got Jacob with me. We're going to try to wiggle the back of it and break it loose and lower it down with the jack. Alright, there we go. It's out. It's over there. And I tell you what, if that transmission shield gets stuck up in that tunnel, and it made it very, very difficult to get that out. If that transmission shield in there, it gets stuck up in there. I don't know if I'm gonna put that back in. We need to buy an aftermarket bell housing and put on it. But yeah, it's out. Say hi to the YouTube, Jacob.
Hello. How's it going, everybody?
Screen's a little dirty.
Now
But
we'll take the transmission out.
yeah, we drug it over here. That's the only real place I got to stand it up. It's just easier to stand it up to take that stuff out. But I'm gonna take the pan off, the pump bolts out, and pull the pump out. All right, took the pan back off of it. There's one bolt holding the filter on, so I took the filter off, and then we pulled this out. There's a couple O-rings up in there, and that's the where the pump gets the fluid. And we'll set this over here, and then now we're going to wedge something in here and try to pry that pump straight up. They make a special tool for that, but I don't have one. But if you pry in there just right, see, that's part of the pump. If you pry in there just right, it'll pop out. So let's do that. So I'm prying right there, and look, first it came up on this side, but then I kept prying it up and down, and it started popping out all around. So now we just grab a hold of it and pull it out of there. Alright, I got the pump out. I don't know, I forgot to say, but I marked the pump at the top, and I marked it right there. It just makes it easier to line everything up, and it don't look like we hurt the gasket, but we'll probably go get another one of those anyway. And make sure you keep track of all your sleeves and stuff. That one didn't come off though. But yeah, so now I'm gonna measure how far this goes down, because I put it back together. Sometimes this is hard to get in, but if you just grab this, it'll come right out. But we're gonna measure right here first. Alright, and that's it. Right at a little over 1.5 inches. So when we put it back in, these got to go through these clutches and stuff. So does the one we're going to take out to change the sprag. So we need to make sure all that goes together, right? But grab that, that'll come right out. And that one right there on the bottom of it's the one that's got the sprag on it. So let's go ahead and set this to the side. And keep in mind all your washers. See, there was a washer right there. Sometimes it'll stay down there, sometimes it'll go up with this. But need to make sure we put that back the way it come out. Now this one will come out easy too, but you see how all them clutches have to line up. That's what I was talking about. It's got to line up with all these right here, so sometimes that's hard to get just right, and this one does the same thing. But this one will come out too. Just grab it, come straight up. And that one's out. Set it over here. And this is the one we're going to work on. Oh, my fingers got stuck in there. And again, look for any washers. But that's what's broke right there. Oh, I can already tell it's broke. It won't turn with my thumb. But we'll look at that here in a minute. And again, keep an eye on any washers or anything. See, we got to drop that in and line it up with all those. We got to drop the other one in and line it up with all those. And then should be able to put it back together. I already know the clutches are good because there's not a lot of clutch material in there like there typically is. But let's go look at the sprag. And here's our problem right here. This should turn clockwise, but it shouldn't turn counterclockwise. It's stuck both ways. So there's a spiral lock right here. Well, most of them have a snap ring. I put a spiral lock in this one. But I can't believe that broke already, man. Even if I did sharp second gear in the burnout, it shouldn't have broke. I don't think it should have broke yet. But let's take the this one has a spiral lock or a snap ring. Just put a screwdriver in there and pop it out. The spiral one, you got to pop out the top later and kind of spiral it off. I'm not sure if y'all can see that, but right there, these dental picks work really good for this. Which I'm not going to be able to do it with one hand, but yeah. Alright, I'll pop that out and then spiral it out. Alright, dental pick pulled it up, and we'll just spiral it around, spiral it out. It's gonna be a little tricky, a little easier said than done, but we'll get it out. Alright, once we got the spiral lock out, this will pop off. And then this should spin off. But we're gonna have to get a screwdriver and kind of try to pry it off. Probably ain't gonna be easy. Actually, it did come off pretty easy. Took a screwdriver and pried it off, but you'll see one of the rollers is up here, and I did get the drum a little. The drum's not smooth like it should be. No more. Boy, it hit it hard. See, this is the bottom of it. Look at it. It's supposed to be all separated like that. It crushed it over here. Crushed it. And this, we're gonna have to take this out of this. Probably gonna have to beat it out. Oh, it'll come right out. I was asking on the DIY Turbo 400 Rebuilders page. A lot of knowledgeable people on there asking questions in there. Is how I learned that in YouTube. Learned how to rebuild that transmission and the one that's in my Camaro outside. I rebuilt both those transmissions myself. It was the first time I'd ever done it. I did mine, it did good, so we sold the Turbo 350 out of Chris's car, which never had a problem, even running low sixes in the eighth. And but we decided to put a Turbo 400 in it just for it to be stronger, and then this happens. And I was asking on that, and they said it probably hurt the outer race too. And lo and behold, it did. So we need new everything, new drum, new outer race, and I bought the sprag. I was hoping we'd just switch out the sprag and be good, but nope, not gonna work that way. Yeah, we're gonna have to order some parts, and then we'll just slap it right back together with the new drum. New drum. We'll probably just buy a drum that's already got the sprag and the race on it. Then we'll have to swap all this over from the inside, and then we'll have to re-drill the little bleed hole for the trans brake. So yeah, order a new one of these just all together and everything. Re-drill the hole in the bottom of it. And just take all this stuff out, the seals and the everything, the clutches, and put them in the other one, throw it back together. Well, that's going to wind up being about a $200 mistake. But yeah, you ever do a burnout on a turbo 350 or a turbo 400, you definitely don't want it to bark the gears, bark the tires in second gear, because that's what happens.